in the past. I try to gauge it by the last year, year and a half. If we've only used one, and we have 23 that we're going to have to dispose of now that we didn't use, I mean, I think that we can kind of gauge, what we need, how much we need, and take it down. It's real easy to order, and a lot of our things come overnight. So instead of, buying a lot and having a lot that is just wasted, I think it's better to just buy when we need it, and there's really no reason for us to stockpile like we have. So.
The other thing we're also looking at is it's been stocked on 3 ambulances. We're running into issues over in Bird City because that's not temperature controlled over there. And so we're looking at going to like a bag system, basically, that if you're going to have an A run, they take that with them instead of keeping all of this stocked on all the ambulances, because if it reaches a certain temperature, you got to waste it. So the control is just a lot to handle, and that's where a lot of your expense is the waste of it. So.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Amanda, we kind of jumped in front of you. We're sorry.
That's all right.
Will we bring that up today?
What?
The doors?
That's up to you. We do have a question about the abatements we just signed.
Okay.
The ones that are from Bird City, what is the...
City of Bird City?
So they had filed for exemption through Board of Tax Appeals. Board of Tax Appeals are the only ones that can exempt a property from taxes. So they hadn't done that on, one was the recycle center that they bought in 16, I think. And then
So there were properties that wound up on the tax roll that really shouldn't have been.
So one was the recycle center, and I can't remember if it was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And then the other one was that old theater property that the city had condemned and taken ownership of there on Main Street.
Yeah,
it's just an empty lot, yeah. Mm-hmm. So when they got ownership of those, they never filed for exemption.
Oh,
and so
I see.
they've been on the tax rolls.
So they've been paying the taxes on them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
All right, we just
Yeah.
had a tough time figuring that one out.
yeah, they just didn't file the paperwork back when they first acquired them, so they'd been on the tax rolls, and
Okay.
they were granted exemption from the date that they took ownership, so.
Yeah. We appreciate your efforts trying to pay taxes.
I am here, it's that time of year again to renew our contract with RNS Digital
Yeah.
for our GIS mapping services. You want a copy, Leslie?
Sure.
I made you one,
Thank you.
so Roger wouldn't have to share.
Is this pretty close to the same price we've been
He
paying?
has not increased his price for probably 3 years.
Yeah, I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah. I think next year it will increase a little bit. I was talking to him about offering, there's several different companies like CIC or tax software has a web portal to where people can get access to information online and not have to come through our office. I haven't heard back from CIC, but I heard theirs is pretty expensive. RNS is working with PVD to be able to pull our property record cards. And then we could set up 2 logins, one for general public and one for people that are privy to sales information. And they could search the website and pull up the PRCs without having to call our office. And they can do it after hours on the weekends whenever it's convenient for them. Appraisers in Colby could pull it up and not have to drive up here. And he said if that would increase $500, he'd be surprised. So pretty inexpensive,
Still
and
not
then
bad.
we can charge people to have that access. So I don't think that would be an issue to recoup our expense there.
Okay. Well, we've used RNS Digital for many years now.
2008, I believe,
Yeah, I think
2009
so.
when Bruce came on board. It's cheaper than paying a full-time employee to.
And they're
do
good.
GIS.
I mean, because Dispatch uses them too. They provide their mapping capabilities. And
Dude, I thought Eric went with ATCI. I thought he was
might have.
ATCI.
Maybe he did.
They did in the past.
Yeah.
But we've used these folks a lot in the past.
Like I said, that's really inexpensive, and
Yeah.
value, or the price hasn't went up in 3 years, and for what we get out of it, and we always have special requests for different maps or different layers, and they're pretty good about getting it to us and not charging.
You need a motion to accept the contract with R&S Digital Services
Yes.
for
For seven,
$7,265.
for their,
move.
I'll second that.
okay, have a motion made and second to accept R&S Digital Services, their invoice for their support, GIS support, for $7,265. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so.
All right, the next thing is the print heads in our big plotter went out on us. Right now, we order stuff through Salina Blueprint is who we go through. To replace the print heads on the machine we have was going to be $2,000. It's an older machine, they no longer support it, so we thought that was kind of high to, a large amount to put into something that's kind of obsolete. So Salina Blueprint did get us this quote, and then we did get a quote from OPI. I believe they're out of Great Bend, but they also have an office in Hayes. The price from Salina Blueprint, this is on a little bit smaller plotter than what we have. The one we have is probably a little more than what we need. So this is more realistic with what.
Come on, who doesn't want us to say what I have?
So this would be a little more compatible with what we would use. It currently does the 36-inch paper, but it can also do 24-inch paper. One we have does 36 up to 42, which is just gigantic. The Salina Blueprint quote is good to the 20th. That's a special that Canon has through them.
Okay, but basically your two quotes are identical, right?
They're the exact same machine. Let me get that sheet. So OPI is saying $4,500 essentially with $650 setup and delivery, and then they're giving us a discount and trade-in of $1,150 for a price of $3,995. And Salina Blueprint is $2,995, and that includes setup, delivery, install, and training, and they will remove the $8,000 and take it with them. Probably 7 miles east of here, dropping off on their way out of town. I don't know, but even their quote on the ink is quite a bit cheaper. Salina Blueprint was $77, and there's 6 cartridges as opposed to $139 through OPI.
Okay, so I'm getting the feeling you're kind of leaning towards Salina Blueprint.
We've worked with them in the past. I don't really know this OPI company. Bruce Hardesty with R&S Digital recommended them, but for $1,000 less for the same machine, and the ink is cheaper. And other than if we have issues down the road, we might get charged a little bit more if they have to drive from Salina than Hayes. But
And you're looking on getting this purchase in this year, or?
correct.
Okay.
By the 20th, you said.
Well, I think if we tell them we want it, they can get it ordered, and then we can get the invoice submitted by the 31st. I know I do have just $1,500 in capital outlay, so I probably have to
Transfer
transfer
some
some over to cover this. 'Cause
But your overall budget, you can absorb that.
personnel and commodity, or contractual, I should have enough, but I wanted to make sure after this, got to prove that where I'm at contractual, but I know personnel, I would have enough to transfer an additional 15
Okay.
to cover the initial 3,000.
So do you want to go ahead and make that request, that you be allowed to do that budget transfer if they're going to approve?
I just, if we were going to order ink and paper, I wanted to make sure my commodities, if I needed to, unless I need to make it now, I just,
If you're, because you're an elected official, if you're switching line items, you need to get approval to move that money within the budget. You can do a budget transfer sheet,
correct.
so.
But if we're not actually expending this, I mean, if they get approval now, to where I can make sure with the ink and paper and all of that in my commodities, if I need to move some then, or do you want to just do the motion to transfer the 1,500 now, and then we can do ink at the end of the month if need be, if I need to transfer to commodities for the ink?
That's up to you.
I mean,
Well-
for sure, the plotter coming out of capital outlay, I've got 1,500 in there, so we will have to transfer 1,500.
Okay. So I need a motion to go ahead and approve one of the two bids, And I agree with Amanda, Salina Blueprint seems to, and we've used them in the past, we're familiar with them and their salespeople, and their service work has been,
They've been good.
okay.
We might make a motion if you promise not to bring any more rebates in here.
That's out of my hands.
What?
I said, that's out of my hands. You
I'll
can-
make a motion, we accept the bid from Salina Blueprint.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. So that was for $2,995. Okay, now,
Do you wanna-
do you want to do the transfer now, or?
We
Might
can.
as well do the 15
The 1,500,
now
and then,
come
like I said,
back.
see where we're at as far as getting the paper and ink cartridges and all of that.
Okay, she's requesting a transfer of funds from contractual, or no, from
Personnel.
personnel to contractual of $1,500.
So move.
And I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right,
Okay.
I think that's it.
Can I ask a question? I got a lot of complaints about the doors. What's the deal behind
About
it?
the doors.
The doors you put in, the swinging doors, whatever, in your office?
Oh, just put those in. A lot of times if I'm having people in for payment under protest hearings and people come in, they just like to, just for some privacy, if I've got
More of a
people meeting,
privacy.
yeah.
Because, I just get one side of the story,
Yeah.
and then
No, I've had problems when I've had people sitting in there and people come to the counter and they see me sitting at my desk and just try to converse and I'm in the middle of something. So it's more for when I'm just, have people in there, busy times of year, when payment under protest is tax time, that kind of stuff that we can discuss and have conversations on somebody's value without being interrupted.
okay,
Is that okay?
well, I don't know if it is or not, because I don't know what the policy of doing something like that is. Do we have a policy that you could change it?
I mean, it's not an original wall, so it's not anything with the historic value or anything. And I believe you were under the $1,500, well
Under
it.
500, yeah. I know a lot of appraisers, offices in other counties, they have their own separate office, and
Yeah,
maybe it's just a different setup,
yeah.
and,
Like I say, I get one side and not the
Yeah.
other, so.
yeah, no, totally understand.
Okay.
Right.
Thank
Perfect.
you, Amanda.
Thanks, guys.
Eddie, you got time for a 5-minute break?
I do. Thank you.
Take a break for 5 minutes.